Most cleavage.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. We didn't decide who's opening the show, so welcome to Comic Frontline, everybody.
Welcome to that image.
Yeah. You're welcome. And I'm sorry. Depending on who you are and what your sensibilities are. Welcome to another episode of Comic Book Weekly, everybody. I am Brant Fowler. We got Kat Comic Uno over there.
How's it going?
We got somewhere down there, you guys know, you can see the screen. Dude of Rock 18, Michael, what's up?
Hey guys, Dude of Rock 18 in the house.
And of course, Mike Spider Slayer, Comic Book Corner 2.0.
Hey guys, welcome.
And Chris can't be with us tonight. Hopefully he'll be back next week. Tommy is unfortunately under the weather, so wish him well and speedy recovery. So
yep.
And all that good stuff. So
we're already starting out with some good comments.
You got the first comment of the day, right?
We promise we're family friendly here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's not for kids though, this video. No.
Yeah, it's not for kids, but like we're family friendly. So whatever you want to take that as.
We're in the gray.
We're definitely in the gray area. So that image was because of Goblin Queen returning, yes. Which I feel like we haven't seen her in a really long time. I don't really remember the last time we have seen her.
Yeah, it seems like they tried to retcon something with her recently, but I don't remember. I couldn't remember like the last actual appearance we've seen of her.
She was in something.
Right. It was in something recent. Yeah,
something I want to say a couple years back.
Yeah,
and I can't remember
what
it was because I remember seeing obviously the images of her, but what event was it?
I don't. That's the thing. I can't remember which event it was.
I vaguely remember it because she was kind of relevant again, and then she dropped off.
Secret Wars. Was it that long ago? Wow.
It must have been a while ago.
Dang, 5 years ago already?
I can't believe it's been that long. Wow.
When is Goblin Queen returning?
Next week, right?
I think it's soon.
X-Men number 6 and then Hellions number 1 in March.
Yeah, so March is where she's like really, really showing up.
Right, yeah.
And then you said it was X-Men issue 6?
Issue 6, I think she pops in, or maybe it's just an appearance or whatever. Maybe she's just on the cover. I don't know. But we'll see.
She doesn't show up at all.
Maybe. But there is a cover. That's what the main image of the thumb for the show is that Mike shared. But this is from issue 6 of X-Men, I think.
So Serenity says the last time she was around was in the all-female X-Men book. There was an alternate universe version in X-Men Blue. She trained Beast in magic.
That's even longer ago. If it was that X-Woman title, like that was a really long time ago. I don't even know if we were doing this show at that point. Honestly, I don't. That was a while ago. But yeah, so that's happening. I honestly don't care too much about the character. But she's gonna sell a lot of covers. So don't worry about that.
Definitely. It's gonna cause complications because now Jean's back again, and you have that whole thing, and she's technically Cable's mom. So I mean,
maybe she'll be a young Cable as well.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, see, there you go, because we got young Cable in the mix, and now it's gonna be all confusing. That Summer's line is just.
So how is Jean gonna react to the whole situation?
Right. Yeah.
Oh. And who does Scott pick?
Yeah,
Jean,
Emma,
or the clone?
Yeah, Maddie, I don't know. It's crazy.
Oh man, it will be interesting. I mean, I'm gonna give Hellions issue 1 a shot. I've been really trying to give every X-Men title at least one issue, and I only have 2 on my pull list. So that says something, I guess. I mean, the titles have been good, but they're all very diverse, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, that is a good thing. So I don't know.
He has a comment there and says, as far as I know, that's just a cover, and she won't show up until Hellions issue 1. I'm hyped. I love Maddie mostly because of Inferno and the X-Men
series.
In the X-Men series. I know that was just a cover, but yeah, the Hellions one is where she makes the appearance, because I remember when I was doing my covers of the week and that cover popped up to celebrate the 40 years of Dark Phoenix, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a long time.
Yeah, I like that comment that it's Jean is the it is complicated. It's all complicated.
Oh yeah, everything's very complicated. I'm so excited for that Jean and Emma, whatever book it's called. It's like a one shot for a giant size. I think giant size. Yeah. So excited for that. Yeah. Anyways, I just mentioned that every show.
As an aside, before we get into it, I just want to throw it out there that next Tuesday, in fact, is our 6-year anniversary on Comic Front.
Yeah. Whoa, right?
Yeah.
Mind blowing. Crazy. What do you want to see is what we're asking.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
What would you guys want us to do?
Right.
Yeah.
Let us know. Yeah, please. All right. So with that, we should get into some comic news.
Yeah. So first up, I just added this, so we're gonna just talk about it. But Strange Avengers is gonna be part of the Black Label. So that's interesting.
Is that the Adam Strange book?
Yeah. So that's the Adam Strange book. I guess because like Black Label is also in some ways very Vertigo, but with DC characters, like they're trying to be like it's because that was replaced. So maybe
just all of a sudden they decided to make a Black Label.
It's today. They came out with a preview and they're like, also it's gonna be 17 plus and it's gonna be part of the Black Label.
So, but this book has been solicited already for like
months,
a couple months now, and it's like I feel like shouldn't they have already written it? And so now with
I think it was written. I think either they were trying to keep it as a surprise and be like, look, a Black Label book, or maybe the series became more mature as the issues go on. They're like, oh, we got to make this 17 plus.
Yeah. They had Adam Strange junk just floating around. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
I don't know how to feel about this though, because when I hear about a cool new book that I want it to be in continuity, and Black Label is not. So that's
true.
Also, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Unless they're doing this, like you guys heard that rumor, like how all the characters from DC are eventually going to be the Black Label characters. Did you hear about that?
I did not hear that.
Okay, so this is what I heard, and this is from different YouTubers. One of them actually was Ethan Van Sciver's podcast, and he said that DC eventually is going to move all their major characters to Black Label, right? And then that's why they're going to charge these books like $7.99 because they're all Black Label. And then with that 5G thing that they're introducing all these other characters. And so that line, the regular books are just going to be that. So,
I mean, now we know where it's coming from though. So who knows if it's true,
right? But, who knows if it's true? It's all like for me, I feel like it's rumors. I don't know
100%.
because every time I look at a solicit, I don't see any of that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
And I don't think DC would be giving him any intel. So
yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that they blurred those lines. Like there were times where Vertigo characters were in the main DC continuity and all that stuff. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's just weird, you know, because it's like you got all these different stories, and it's cool. It's cool seeing these different takes on like Harleen and different things like that. So, and is White Knight Black Label?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's cool seeing those different takes on them, but at the same time, it's like we read so many books that it's when I do read Marvel and DC books, I mostly want them to be in continuity. So it may just be a me thing, though. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Adam Strange, I'm just excited, I guess, for the overall story, but I am fearful it's going to be so similar to everything else he's written. Because I remember I did an interview with him at New York Comic Con. It was kind of funny that he said, yeah, you know, my next project, I really want to write something that's not a straight white man. And I was like, speaking, and like out of like sarcastic Catherine, it kind of came out of my mouth by accident, but it's like, speaking of straight white men, you have Adam Strange coming out. But that's like the fear is like, yeah, it is not the diversity aspect of it, but just like, I do feel like his stories are very similar. So I'm curious if it's going to continue to be similar because they just announced who is the co-star in that book. And I kind of forgot who it is already. Mr. Terrific.
Yeah, Mr. Terrific. That's
yeah.
it is, yeah.
I mean, maybe they'll make an intro. I don't know. I just feel like his books are all very similar.
Yeah, I agree. So I don't know. I'll try it out though.
We will see. So that's all the comic news. Surprisingly, this has been kind of a slow week for news, but we do have some media news. And first up, Brant wanted to discuss this. The Green Hornet will be getting a reboot film.
Yeah, and what I love about this is I'm a fan of the classic TV show and some of the comics I've read, and they've been really solid. What I'm a fan of about this is that it has nothing to do with Seth Rogen and that whole debacle of a movie.
It's probably going to take itself more serious.
Yeah, and I love that because that's what I want. That's what I wanted the first time around, and I'm kind of excited to see it because it's kind of a pulp noir kind of throwback character. So I think they could do something really serious, really dramatic, and just really cool with it if they get the right cast and the right director and everything. So I know we don't have that much information on it yet, but I'm kind of excited about it. So.
Yeah, we will see on that one. And then next up, a kind of weird headline, but Owen Wilson's is reported to be in the Loki TV show. So we have his brother in Stargirl, and then him. Wow, in Loki.
I actually marked that down because it's been like a pretty long while since we saw Owen Wilson like in anything really. I mean, it was kind of actually shocking to know. Yeah, it's just shocking to know that he's actually going to be in that series.
Yeah, especially out of anything. I agree. Like that's a big series.
I think it's going to be funny because I mean, Owen Wilson, he's just kind of crazy goofy and just says off the wall stuff. And you play that off Loki's mischievous, but he's serious, right? And
yeah,
it's going to be interesting seeing, if they're interacting a lot, which I assume they will, just to see that. Yeah. I like the Seth Rogen film. He's funny. And I am not a Seth Rogen fan, Serenity. I do not like Seth Rogen at all.
Have you tried any of his, you wouldn't watch Preacher, so that's a no on that one. I'm trying to think if there's anything else he did. He does, very interesting producing. And
yeah, he starred in Green Hornet as well. So
yeah.
If he's starring in it, I'm not watching it.
Hey, sometimes we all have that actor, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the Owen Wilson story. Next up, we're talking about the Super Bowl a little bit, but Black Widow had a very short Super Bowl trailer. I thought they would have something online after that because usually that's what happens with the Super Bowl is they'll do a 30-second trailer then, and then they'll do an online trailer, and they didn't. So,
yeah, I thought that they were going to actually expand it a little bit. I mean, I understand that we've had a long trailer that's already been released a little bit to give us kind of what the feel of the movie is going to be, but I was actually expecting a longer trailer. But some of the stuff that was in it was really, really interesting that I liked, and maybe they thought that there's much more other things to see when a movie comes out, and they didn't want to show it to us.
Yeah, I mean, I think they showed us a good amount. They just want to use the Super Bowl to promote themselves, which they usually do. I don't like Black Widow, and I didn't really believe this movie needed to exist. But every single time I see a trailer, I'm interested in it. It looks good.
The trailer looks good. I don't know. It's like the only thing new we got in this was that one line. The Avengers weren't my first family. That's really the only thing.
Yeah, I didn't notice anything different either. Yeah. To me, it all seemed the same. I got more out of the Disney Plus show, teaser trailer than anything because I was like, oh damn, they're actually showing a teaser for this. Yeah. I was excited about that.
Right. Yeah, I think we've seen enough of Black Widow to get what the movie's about now. So let's just bring the movie on.
Yeah, right. And it's been a while since we've had a Marvel movie, but let's actually go into the first look of the Disney Plus Marvel shows. I'm really excited for WandaVision. Out of anything, the Captain America stuff looks like the plain old movies we've seen, but the WandaVision looks like they're utilizing television for a reason, and it just looks so different. And obviously taking from Tom King's run of Vision. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, I that's what's got me excited too, and we get to see Wanda's classic costume and all these different kind of genres from TV that they're playing with, and I'm just curious to see what exactly they're doing with it and how that comes about. I'm excited for that one for sure.
Nola Nerd says the trailer showed Taskmaster stomping on the shield. That is true. And then real quick, DPE review says Goblin Queen returns. Like we did talk about it at the first thing of the show. We talked about it for about 5 minutes or so. So if you want to flip it back on the rewind, you'll hear our discussion on that.
He also asks about I'm guessing he means the Zenoscope series of this, unless I'm totally missing out on what he was talking about. But fan of the Inferno series, was wondering what comic the Giblum. I don't know what that is.
I think he's talking about the Goblin Queen. Inferno.
Okay.
Yeah, was the story.
Series. I don't know why. When I think Inferno, I think of that Zenoscope book.
Yeah. That was the story she was in the Inferno. That's where she came from.
Yeah. So it's Hellions that comes out in March again. So that's where.
And then we have a couple comments about Black Widow. So I'm interested in Black Widow because of Frances Pugh. She's a fantastic actress. And then SM Down says to me, I'm so interested in Black Widow, but I wish they were going further back to when Bart was supposed to kill her. I mean, she's already dead, right? So if you have another story where they're going to kill her off, we already know that she's going to survive. So
I think the movie's going to be good. I really do. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, even just visually, it looks amazing. So,
Comic Universal has a good comment there. I wish Taskmaster had the skull mask. I know that he has a faint skull design on the mask, but I wanted the classic mask. I agree with him. I think it would be cool to kind of see that. With what you're used to seeing in the comic books.
Yeah.
This one, he kind of looks just more like almost like a robot or something like that,
It's like when they to give Bullseye his Bullseye thing, they just made it a tattoo in that Daredevil movie. It's kind of like that. It's like sometimes you can lean into it and just go with the whole comic route.
Right. Or it's kind of like how Green Goblin was in Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah. Mechanical Goblin.
Yeah.
Iron Goblin.
Yeah.
Sub-Bavarian.
He was like a Power Ranger.
Yeah.
We also have like one more news story, but I posted it today. So if no one wants to talk about it, we'll move on. But the Bloodshot movie is getting a novel. I'll just say I think it's interesting that they're trying to get into different mediums. I don't know if that's the medium. I don't know.
Wait,
how much
a novel?
Like a real novel. Yeah, so they're like like Star Wars does this sometimes. They'll do like a retelling of the movie, but through novel form. So they're doing that with Bloodshot.
It's an interesting one to do their first novel with.
Yeah. Especially because it's like based on the movie, and it's just like I'd rather have like an original story if they're gonna do that.
Yeah. It's I mean, I don't know that for a fact that's their first novel, but it's just that's a weird one. But okay. Cool.
We got Exile State here. Hello. Welcome. And yeah, that was all the news. So it was not a big news week.
No. So
thanks, guys, for all the great comments and joining us on the show too. It's awesome.
Yes, thank you for coming on.
Yeah. And don't forget to let us know what you want us to do for the anniversary next week.
Yeah, I don't think we got any comments yet. Yeah, next year we have another anniversary.
We're gonna dump water on each other.
Somehow through the internet.
Right. Yeah. All right. So I guess it's time to talk about some big books. I know. I skipped Under the Radar. I'm sorry, Michael.
Under the Radar is so under the radar.
I'm not used to leading the show. Go ahead.
All right. Well, so it is Under the Radar time where we talk about books that normally each of us don't talk about, but we'll get into the book. So
this is your segment when you're failing, Michael.
Anyway, I had a long day. So the book I want to talk about is Conan the Barbarian, issue number 12. And this book was actually I like this issue and the art was okay. Just talked about how Conan is fighting these two kids who actually turned into a demonic form from Conan's blood. And the only reason why they want to kill Conan is because he murdered their mother. So the kids want to actually get back at him. So as the fight continues, he takes down the Dark Lord the one with the hand that has like all the mouths on and everything. They call him the Dark Lord. And we have his son Khan and the Black Dragon Knights who come to save and protect him. And what he does is that they're trying to find their way to get out of the temple. So they're trying to see how they can close it or whatnot. Like the great evil of it has to be closed. And as it ends, he defeats the two demons. He cuts the roots which held the temple together. So I like that whole father-son thing that was in this comic book. I thought that was actually, very, a heartfelt moment for that, because in the end, they both set off on a new journey. And that's really basically the end of the book. So definitely a great read for this Conan book for this week.
I'm glad you're like a Conan again.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, this one was actually really good for that. All right, Mike, what's your under the radar book for this week?
I don't have one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think he picked one.
Yeah, I don't have one. Like every book that came out was like more of a mainstream type of book, and there's a couple of them that I get a chance to finish reading. So yeah, I just don't have one this week.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then. So then let's go to.
It honestly is under the radar as Lock and Key. We all know it.
Yeah, exactly. Lock and Key that's getting a Netflix show in a few days now, right? Yeah, mine is a book that I didn't have an under the radar either, so I like went on the search to say like what book can I read that might make the cut.
Goodness!
You did some homework.
Yeah, I did. So I read Ravencroft.
You must finish your homework.
Yeah. I read Ravencroft from Marvel, and I wasn't intending on getting this book, and I wasn't interested in the follow up of that. What it was the Misty Knight book in the whole Absolute Carnage thing. That's kind of what this is spinning out of, and I didn't really care for that book, so I was like really hesitant about this one. But it was actually really good. They reopened in Ravencroft, and there's like this secret organization that's behind it. And they're being really hush-hush on like who the board of directors and everything is. And Misty Knight is involved. She's taken a job undercover to be in the thick of it and try to figure out what's going on. And it ends up that like it's a bunch of supervillains that are the board of directors led by the Kingpin. And I can't remember exactly who the rest of them are off the top of my head, but it was like a who's who kind of thing of Marvel bad guys that were kind of in charge of this, so it literally is the inmates running the asylum kind of thing. And I thought it was really interesting. It was kind of dark, super spy kind of thing that I wasn't expecting, and the art was really good too. So it surprised me.
Interesting.
That's good. I actually looked at it at the store, and I'm like,
it was a lot of talking.
Was it? Yeah, that's why it's like it doesn't look exciting to me.
Yeah, there wasn't. It was more of that kind of cerebral thing. It wasn't there wasn't hardly any action. And actually, it was a lot of talking. So I understand that. That's one of the reasons I was hesitant too.
We also have another under the radar, not from this week, but just in general. Comic Universal says Batgirl's way under the radar. I know it didn't come out this week, but the story is so good, especially the new story arc with the Maker. I'm glad you're liking it. I can't get into this arc, sadly. I haven't been able to get into like the recent arcs of this book, but I hope it'll get better for me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I haven't even started this arc because I was kind of let down by the last two. So I'm glad somebody's enjoying it out there, though.
Yeah, I mean, always love spreading the love about Barbara.
All right. So that's your under the radar?
No, that was somebody else.
Someone else's.
Oh, okay. No, sorry, because I was looking at something else. So, Kat, you're under the radar book.
No worries. Mine is Betty Unbound, issue 10. Did an interview for that one this week if you want to go check it out. But yeah, I thought it was a solid ending. I like her personality a lot. And if you like espionage books, I've been promoting this one for a while, and hopefully we get another volume.
All right. And that's all of our under the radar books. So we'll turn it over now to Mike with the top 5 and the big books.
All right, guys. Yes, it's time for big book discussion. That's right. So remember, there's going to be spoilers. So if you have not read your books, this is the time where I'm sorry, but you have to leave. But we don't really want you to. I hope you read your books by now. I didn't even read all my books, so if someone wants to spoil for me, you can spoil it.
We've had a long week.
So, all right. So the first book we're going to be talking about, and I have a feeling maybe one person read this book, and this was Justice League issue 39. The conclusion to Snyder's run here. So, what'd you think?
Yeah. I wish Chris was here because he and I were kind of talking about it a little bit. We were both kind of disappointed with the way this ended.
You were reading it from the beginning, right?
Yeah. I missed, like, I stopped reading it and then I went back and read the fill-in issues that I missed. So yeah, I read the whole thing, and I think Chris did too. And it was supposed to culminate with this whole Doom War thing ending, right? And you make it clean for the next writer to come in. They didn't do that. At the end of this, Perpetua wins, and all the heroes are like, they're no longer heroes anymore. They're taken to this other dimension. They're not in their costumes anymore. They're all in black, and they're like, we're not their heroes anymore. But there's still hope, and we can fix it. And they fly off into the sun together, the Justice League, and it's like, what the heck? That's how the book ends. It's like there's no more Justice League. There's no more heroes in the DC universe. And now we're getting a new writer, and then they like plug 3 different Justice League events, including the Dark Metal thing at the end. It's like, what the heck just happened here?
Yeah, we didn't talk about that, about the Greg Capullo and Snyder event. So did he plug the previous metal, or are they plugging a future metal?
All it said was, look for what's next with the Justice League, and then look for Encore by Snyder and Capullo. That's all it said at the end, really. So,
I'm sorry, it's disappointing.
It was a huge non-ending. It's like, what? I don't even understand how you could go 39 issues with that one singular story and then not end it for the new writer coming in. It just makes no sense to me. And I don't even know if like Venditti's going to pick that up, or if it's going to be settled somewhere else, or what's going to happen with it.
Especially because it's not going to issue 1, it's going to issue 40. So that'd be such a weird jump if he didn't.
Yeah.
We do have a question, then we'll get back to the Justice League talk. But SM Down says, how long do you guys stick with a title you find underwhelming until you just drop it? I don't like giving myself an issue count. I know people do. But I just feel like in my gut, if I don't enjoy reading it, I don't read it. If I just didn't like it, and if I feel bored with a book and I feel like, oh my God, this book again, I know I have to drop it.
For me, I try to at least give it 2 issues, but sometimes like if I'm halfway through an issue and I'm not liking it, I'll drop it like immediately. And sometimes I'll stick around for 3 or 4. But like Kat said, it's kind of a gut thing. It's like, if I'm not enjoying it, and it also depends on like everything else I'm reading at the time. And like, if I'm reading like a lot of stuff and I'm into a lot of stuff and something's just not grabbing me, I'll drop it. Whereas if I'm not reading a lot of stuff at the time, I might give it a little bit longer.
Yeah, for me, it's like a slope of like up and down. Like I'll usually give it 3 issues, because sometimes like the first issue, it depends on whether it's good or not. But then I give it another try because the issue after that might be okay. But for me, it's like a toss up. Like if I don't really like what I read, then I would say I don't like the issue. Maybe I'll give the next issue a try. But if it just keeps going on and on, 3 strikes you're out, then that's just out of here.
Yeah, and I think also like, because I know people go against us, and I've heard people like, oh, why wouldn't you give it more than just 1 issue? Like, how do you know? It's like a lot of times, like if you read an issue 1 and absolutely nothing grabs you, then I'm not going to waste my money on an issue 2. Especially
that
if
happened to me this week. Yeah,
and we'll hopefully talk about it. That would be good. But yeah, it's just like you kind of know, since we've also been reading comics for such a long time, where it's gonna go in some regards. Like how this medium works. So yeah, I feel like when you're new to the game, you should definitely like keep on and see like what you like and what you don't. That way you can kind of figure out as a reader what you like in comics. But if you already know, like, that's my philosophy. You get to leave it, but
it's kind of like a TV show. If you're an avid TV watcher, at some point you can kind of see where a show is going, unless it's just one of those that kind of blows your mind and goes off in completely weird directions. But typically they're formulaic, and you can tell like, okay, well, this is where this character's going to go and stuff. It's the same kind of thing with comics, I think.
for me, I usually feel like if I read a #1 issue and I already feel like, can I see myself reading this in a long term? And I have that. If I have to question myself, then I'll drop it. Also, when it comes to certain books, like I know some people are completionists and they just have to like finish the story, even if it's a mini series. I'll drop a story 3 issues in. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? The only books that I tend to give a try or like that I continue to read are like those flagship characters. For instance, Batman, Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man, I won't drop. I'll just never drop it. Because it's just, he's my favorite character. So I will never drop that book. But any of the other books I'll drop, but it was hard to drop Superman. It took a long time for me to drop it because it's like, he's a character that you think that you should be reading, you know? And then the same with
especially
Batman.
for DC right now.
What's that?
Especially for DC right now. Cause like their biggest character, I mean, he's their biggest character, but also like biggest things happening right now, I guess, is in Superman.
Right.
You're not liking it.
And then like Justice League, like I didn't like the beginning of that. And even when you tried to kind of jump back on, you can't because it's in the middle of this long, huge story that if you did not read from the beginning, you're going to miss it. And that's the issue that I have when you have a creator that's on a comic book and he wants to tell one huge continuous story. You never know when to jump on because you don't know if you can ever get it either.
Yeah, it's like that works in indie titles because that's what you expect, right? Like you expect Walking Dead to be one long story.
Yeah.
You don't expect that from comics. It's not how we were kind of trained to expect in comics. So it's kind of hard because, like you said, Mike, there's always a point where new people are trying to jump on. And if you're in the middle of a 40-issue story, that's impossible.
Yeah. And or if you're going to do something like that, release it in trade like independents do. Yeah. But DC doesn't do that. They're horrible about releasing trades.
Yeah, we talked about this last week. I think it was either off camera or on camera. But yeah, I was going to the store to try to buy my friend a birthday present for Dial H. Came out this week. Or not this week, but the week I was trying to buy it, the trade. And they didn't have it at Forbidden Planet, which is a really big comic book store. So it's just like crazy in that regard. We do have some other comments, just like some compliments. So definitely want to read those. So Brett says, Mike's been watching your channel for a few months now. You're awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Brett.
And then Sweet said something about going back to like characters, and it ties into Sevia's question. And honestly, Mike answered it, but we could go into it deeper, I guess. But Sweet said, I think Kat said it best in one of her reviews. If you have an affinity for a character, you'll never drop that book, no matter how bad it is. Yeah, and for all of us here, that's Spider-Man. Like, we will never drop Spider-Man at all. And like what Mike said, it'll never happen. So that answers Heaviest question. Like, I really don't care how bad Spider-Man is. Like, I've been collecting that book since I was a kid. I will not stop. It's going to get better at some point. There'll be a new writer. And same thing for Batgirl. You know, we were talking about that before. It's like, I haven't been liking these recent arcs, but I'll never drop Batgirl ever. So yeah, there's certain characters you do it with. And I'm sure you guys all in the comments have your favorites, but that's a handful. So I'm not going to read every Spider-Man comic out there. Like, I think all of us at some point dropped Friendly Neighborhood. So
oh, sure. Yeah. It's just Amazing Spider-Man. That is the one book I'll never drop.
So I think those are all the comments for now that we'll do. Do we want to talk about Justice League anymore, or?
I mean, yeah, I don't really have anything. The only thing I'll say is, because I do want to clarify that I actually did enjoy elements of this overall story, and I enjoyed this issue up until the end. The end just kind of killed the whole thing for me, though, because it wasn't an ending. So that's all.
That's an interesting comment there that Nola Nerd just put up there about he's into the, obviously the writer. If, I can drop a story like A Bad Habit. Historically, for me, I'm picky. I usually do not pick up characters written by writers that have done horrible on something else. Depends on the character, though.
And I think that's a good philosophy too. You know what you like, and I think that's the whole entire point. We also have another question. Well, two it looks like. So I'll start with SM Down and then Brett. But and also another comment from Inferno Fireboy for Mike. Been a fan since his Walking Dead reviews. So there you go. And then
that's a long time.
That's a long time. SM Down said, for the characters you never drop, do you keep reading the issues? Oh, we lost Mike for a second. Hopefully we get it back. For the characters you never drop, do you keep reading the issues you don't like, or do you just collect them? No, I read them. Like I'll always read them, sadly, right? But like for Basic Spider-Man, like I'm gonna read the whole entire thing. For Batgirl, I'll read the whole thing.
Yeah, eventually I'll read them, even if I don't do them right away. I know that there have been times that Chris has just not read them, and then I think he goes back and reads them too, though. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think Michael. He does. Michael, do you know if he dislikes a book of his favorite character, will he just collect them, or does he read them as well?
Well, his favorite character, just talking for him, is Superman, and no matter how bad the Superman books get, like he'll just keep collecting no matter what. But since it's been a little different, then he would have to drop it. And even with the new 52, when that new Superman was out, like he had to collect, get all those Superman books because he likes Superman. So it's kind of hard to drop a book that's your favorite superhero, no matter like how good or bad it is. But it's just a preference of the character and just supporting who you like.
Right. Okay.
We actually have even more questions attached to this, which is really cool. So thank you guys for keeping at it. So Tommy Oliver says, by not dropping a book, do you feel that you're enabling more bad stories to be created? Oh, that's a toughie.
That's a tough question.
Yes, honestly, like I would say yes, sure. Like I think if you are supporting the book, you probably are, but it's hard, right?
But wouldn't like not dropping the book like actually motivate the writers to write better stories?
No, because they got the sales then. They're just like, oh, my sales are doing really well, so I guess I'm doing something right. But then that's all subjective too. Like just because you dislike it doesn't mean other people are disliking it too.
Yeah, because other people they have mixed feelings about they'll like a book and not like a book, because not all of us are the same of if we like it.
It's exhibited with, like Sweet said, Justice League was the second best book this week, and so that's a perfect example of that. So,
unless Mike, do you have anything you wanted to say about that?
About the no, I really don't. I mean, like I said, I'm not one of the ones that tend to hold on to poor books. I usually just tend to drop them.
Yeah, thank you. We're glad you're enjoying the questions.
You sound far away.
Yeah, it was a great question.
Yeah, Mike, you sound a little far away.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, let me fix my mic then.
Yeah, I think it's the mic. And then the other question, and then we'll get back to comics. Do you guys all do daily shows?
No.
So the only people here that do like weekly comic stuff is Mike, obviously, because you're subscribed to him. And for me, I'll do every Wednesday, I do a comic show of all the books I read that week. So, and rank them. So you want to go check that out. It's Comic Uno's best comics of the week. And then we do this weekly. So every Tuesday we do this. And that's what you could see from all of us consistently.
Yeah. I may be doing something weekly here in the next few weeks. So I'll keep everybody posted on that.
Yeah, so I'm sure you'll find stuff every day from all of us. If you
exactly. Yeah, and you guys if you're on my channel know that I do my own show after the poll. I do that every Thursdays at like between 12:30 and 1:30. That's my live show besides all the other videos that I normally do.
And you can also go to comicfrontline.com and check out all our stuff, because we all post our videos and content there.
Yes, definitely go check out. And we do our top 5 panels. So even if you want to see something physically from us, we do that every Tuesday. And that's been doing really well for us. We love doing it. This is also interesting. And thank you guys for all the interesting questions. But SM Down says, how do you agree on books, whether you like or dislike them? I'm guessing he means with all of us, like between each other.
Well, we don't discuss them.
Yeah.
Like, we read books. We don't plan on reading the same books. We just come out with an agenda of books to discuss. Now, we're in constant communication with each other all the time, but we read our books and then we just sit there and we discuss it here on the show with each other for the first time. So we may go on chat and we may say, oh, this book was kind of cool. You might want to check it out. But then later on, they'll be like, no, that kind of sucked. What are you talking about? You know, but we don't really go into details. We leave it all, you know, spoiler free for each other to see what our reactions are. So
yeah, even the under the radar, the big books, like I'll make a list of big books probably 2 weeks prior because I don't really want to think about it when I'm reading it. That way, like I'm not picking books I'm being biased over. It's just books I personally think are gonna be big for the week. And sometimes they're like I'll check off like 4 things out of a list of 15. So even the big books, I try to make it very unbiased. So I do that way before. So
same thing with the most
my reading.
Yeah, same thing with the most anticipated we do at the end of the show too. It's I'll pick them a week or 2 in advance usually, unless I'm like running late like the day before. But yeah, it'll be the same kind of thing. It'll be just like I'll try to be completely unbiased about it and just pick what I think might be an interesting book to talk about.
Yeah, and thank you guys, and you can continue with the questions. We'll hit up some comics though.
All right. So the next book that we're going to talk about is
the
Amazing Spider-Man Daily Bugle issue 1.
I love her eyes.
Shit. Let me tell you, this book was bad. Like, you would think you would care about what goes on in this Daily Bugle. I did not care. I did not care about Robbie's, what was it, his niece or his,
I think.
Yeah. And her crooked eyes and how many followers she has on FaceSpace and all those other places. And they have this discussion about fucking Spider-Man's webs. Like, we're going to do a story on Spider-Man's webs, and people are complaining about Spider-Man's webs. Like, are you serious? Like, what are you going to complain about? You got superheroes and supervillains destroying cities, and out of all the years Spider-Man's been around, just now are we getting people complaining about his webs going on people's clothes and shit like that. I'm like, what the heck is this book? I'm like, this is the worst book I've ever, this is the worst book I read so far of the year, at least already. This was a bad book.
Not me, but it was bad.
Can I interject?
Of course, Michael. Did you love it?
I actually thought it was good.
All right,
really? Okay.
No. Like,
no, we're not attacking you. I was gonna say that it shows that we do not talk before the show.
See, this is the perfect example.
No. I mean, with the Joseph Robertson and the whole niece thing, I thought, and then saying Ben Urich, oh, you got to show her the ropes and everything. I mean, I thought that was a little bit, okay. But then as the story progressed, like with the whole Spider-Man webs thing, I mean, I thought it was something different that we wouldn't expect to see in a Spider-Man comic book. Now,
that is for sure.
It sounds ridiculous that, yes, there are people complaining about the webs, but to me, when I read this, when Chloe did the investigation and then finding out that there's a dead person that is webbed upside down, that could say, Spider-Man probably didn't do it. So who would do it? Like it builds that mystery of, what's that word I'm looking for? Like it just builds mystery,
Suspense.
Thank you. That's the word. So to me, it's just something I never saw, and I thought it was a good first issue.
I totally get that. I understand that, and I thought that was interesting as well. I didn't hate it as much as Mike and Kat did, I think, but I didn't like it either. So, what I had a problem with though wasn't so much the spider webs. I thought that was kind of lame. It's like after all these years, that's going to be the thing. But what I did appreciate about that was that she took the most stupid story and was like, I can make something of this. I thought that was kind of cool to show initiative.
Was that what they were trying to do?
Maybe that's what I think they might have been trying to do. I don't know. What I didn't like was how archaic they made Ben Urich here. It's like, really, this guy's been around this long and he's got a problem with showing somebody the ropes, and he's going to be like one of these, I don't get the social media crap these kids are spouting. It felt unreal for Ben in this day and time. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, because he's a journalist that I feel like grows with the times.
Right, exactly.
What do you think of the whole situation of making Peter of just a plain photographer again?
That I did not like.
I didn't even get it because it had nothing to do with what's going on in Spider-Man. So I'm just like, where did this come from?
But isn't he a photographer?
He worked for the science division of the Bugle, which makes sense because it still uses his scientific mind in a way, instead of just being used to take freaking pictures.
Yeah,
it was a much more modern day job, and to take that away from him is kind of stupid.
It was a very cheap way to get things back to the classic status quo.
It was weird. And then also, the reason I didn't like this book, there's a lot of things I didn't like, but the main reason is I don't really understand why it exists. It's just it didn't really need to be a series, in my opinion. I also didn't really like the artwork very much. And I guess because Amazing Spider-Man came out last week, it did such a good job with the journalism conversation. I'm like, that was so good. I love JJ's point of view and how that affects Spider-Man. And then you see it here and it's just
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I compared this to, because this was supposed to be a journalism type of, the ins and outs of the Daily Bugle. Then you had that great Amazing Spider-Man, like Kat was saying, and this doesn't even compare. I just thought that issue was so much better when it came to the journalism side of things, So this was a letdown, and this is one of those instances where I won't get issue 2. I will not buy it.
Spider-Man, so there you go.
Yeah.
It shows. We do have some more questions here. This one will be very short of, but SM Down says, what do you guys do when you are not making videos?
Oh boy.
Work. I think we can all just say that, and if we want to put it all together, it's working.
We work and we eat dinner, watch
we actually all the time when we're not doing videos, we just eat a lot.
Yeah, just eat a lot. Yeah, I eat a lot when I am making videos. What are you talking
about? Say cheers to
I watch a lot of TV. I'm a TV guy. I love TV. So and I watch a lot of wrestling, and I play video games on occasion and board games on occasion. So there you go.
That's
I do video games and usually some other stuff, especially for my YouTube Durock 18 channel, if I have any ideas or some. But if not, I'll just play some Nintendo Switch games or anything else interesting.
Yeah,
I was going to say, so when I'm not making YouTube videos or reading comics or whatever it is, I am teaching tennis because that is my job. So I'm teaching tennis 30 hours a week to all ages. And then I have a family, I have a wife, I have 2 kids, I have a dog that I got to take care of. And so I'm kind of on the go. My daughter does dance. I'm all over the place. How I do my YouTube channel is strictly on the phone. Everything is done, recording, editing, talking to these guys here on the show. I'm always on that phone. It's it's attached to me. I do nothing on the computer except doing this particular show. And that's really it.
That's so funny. Yeah. And Kat and I, we eat, sleep, and breathe comics. It's all we do, really. It's because we both work in comics. So it's kind of that thing. So.
Yeah. It's so interesting. That's what I was going to say is if I had to pick it's so interesting because 5 years ago, I was very much I did so many videos all the time. And now the biggest video I'll do during the week is my best comics of the week. I'll do this show and that's kind of it. I'll do a topic video on my channel. And then Loud House reviews or a TV show I really like. But yeah, me and Brant, we're just always freaking writing. And we're very much consumed by comics. So it's always finding something not to do with comics too, if you actually want some downtime.
Yeah,
that was a good question.
JLS, did I say I had 2 wives and a kid? No. And Brett also said, did you figure out the lawnmower schedule? So every time I do my most anticipated video, the freaking lawn guy always comes right across the street and mows the grass. And it doesn't matter what time of day it was. So today I got home and the lawn guy came and I'm like, I'm going to wait until he's done. And as soon as he drove away, I sat my ass down and I did my video. So hopefully I can avoid him as much as possible.
So now you figured it out, which
it's
is
not
good.
it's not a constant schedule though.
Yeah, no,
it's always, every time it's always different.
We kind of already went into this and won't get too personal about it, but what are our jobs? I'm a journalist, and I write comics, and I'm trying to get into TV industry.
I work at a private school teaching pre-K children, and I've done so for like 3 to 4 years now.
I'm primarily a comic book letterer and graphic designer, and I'm also a publisher and a writer, and I wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm a head pro tennis instructor over at a park in Florida, where I teach a ton of kids, adults, and you name it. So that's what I do.
Isn't it crazy? We all come from so many different walks of lives and come together to talk comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, now on YouTube they say you're like this different person, like, you know. Well,
yeah, and that's one thing I think we're so great about, though, is that I think we're very real.
But that's like the fun part. You could show different personalities. Like on YouTube, I'm this character, and then in real life, I'm different. There's a difference.
It's just different sides of us.
Yeah,
we get to show off on this show because we get to just kind of relax and geek out a little bit.
The one thing is we've all loved comics. We've all loved comics.
Yeah.
So,
remember when I did that Mike Talica thing, like the alter ego thing?
Yeah, Michael just loves being other people.
It's cool. I like it. It was just for one episode though, which stunk.
And we have Jess. He wants to do it again for our 6th anniversary.
Oh, I would love to.
Yeah, I am the international man of mystery, Jesse.
There you go.
That's right.
And Sweet says this was great. Yeah, hopefully bring more of these questions next week. We still haven't decided what we're doing, but it seems like a lot of people wanted a Q&A. So.
No, they just decided, we'll just ask now.
Q&A comic from
So yeah, I mean, you guys get to know us a little bit more on a personal level, so maybe you guys can relate to us a little bit more. So that's kind of cool. So we'll get back to some more questions. Let's talk another book real quick. Our number 5. So what do you have as a number 5, Kat?
Mine was Bettie Page. So we talked about it. But it's a 3-star book. So this week was
low for you.
Yeah. It was a good finale, but I don't love that. It was very B movie. And I'm like actually being legit. There's bees that she's going up against. So it's a little weird on that point. I like it more when it's just about the espionage stuff and less about like, I guess, classic B movie. But and real bee movie I'm talking about, not actual bees. But yeah, so it was an okay issue, but I'm excited to see where this is gonna go. If it gets picked up for another run.
Also, Mike, before you choose me, I've read only 3 books this week, so I'll be in for the top number 3.
Okay. And Inferno Fireboy goes, I don't want to go, but my wife is calling me. Good night, guys.
Yeah, you better go then. You get her upset.
Yeah.
And then Inferno asks what our top 5 is. So we will reveal that throughout the show. But Inferno, this show is posted post live. So you could come back and watch it after if you'd like to know our top 5. And then the other question was, are you guys going to see Birds of Prey this week? Yes, I'm going to see it Thursday.
No, I'm not going to see it. I'm not.
I will for Sonic to come out.
How about your Bloodshot? Bloodshot's coming out too.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Well, maybe Bloodshot if I can. I want to go see Sonic more. It's awesome.
I understand if you have to pick one of them. Definitely do Sonic. I want your review when you go see it, though. I want to hear what you thought.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so
questions in the chat, but we got to get through some of the comics.
Yeah,
my number 5 is real quick.
This is what we'll do. We'll go through the comics. We'll go through one comic, and then we'll take some questions. We'll go through another. We'll take some questions, so we give it an equal balance. So, Brant, what's your number 5?
We already talked about it. Ravencroft. It really surprised me. So.
And Mike Spider Slayer, what's your number 5? Well, my number 5 is
that was something new.
I mean, I am like 2 different people. I'm and there's Mike Spider. There's alter egos there, which was actually finally the best The End book I've ever read so far, and that was Captain Marvel: The End.
Nice.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a really good book. You know, Carol sacrifices herself to keep the Earth alive and to save her friends, and you get to see everybody. You know, like Jessica's like old, and we get to see their kids, and it was just kind of cool. And they fought this monster together, and it was just a well written book, and it made sense. It was well into the future. Earth was this desolate place, and she kind of brought it back to life all these years, and it was emotional. I felt like it was a realistic story, something you know is very fitting for you know, that character, and so I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I will not be reading any of the other end books, but I agree this one was good. And honestly, it was everything but the end. Like, I didn't love how she died. It was like whatever. I just liked seeing all these different characters. I loved Emma Frost because she was there, and she had some good lines. But yeah, I think Kelly Thompson just kind of not just celebrating Captain Marvel, but celebrating everything that she's written in, you know, her time at Marvel so far. So yeah, I thought it was a really solid, fun read.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic, and I actually love the way that she died. I thought it was very fitting for Carol, and just like you said, yeah, exactly. But sacrificing herself in that way for the people that she loved the most too, I thought it was just very fitting and very Carol, and I love seeing these versions of them and Danny and all the kids grown up, and I love that Emma is the one that survived out of everybody. She's the one that's there, and Jessica.
And there's no answer to it either. She just says, "I'm fabulous."
Yeah,
and and I also love that Jerry kind of looks like Roger. You know,
yeah,
right. So
one thing I also liked was seeing Iron Fist's daughter and
yes, Misty Knight.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool that they ended up together, because I'm like, oh man, I want to see like how that happened, because I feel like Danny and Luke would be like proud dads, be like, yeah, our kids got together.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I love like Jennifer and Carol reconnecting, because she's Kelly Thompson's built up their relationship a little bit at a time, and just seeing that, and it was a really good
Rogue's
issue.
Daughter.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that.
Eyes. Yeah.
What was it? Irene? Is that what her name was, or something like that?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
That was the only downfall. Like she was introducing way too many characters for that one shot, you know?
Yeah.
And I would, it's like almost I could see that being like just an alternate, like a mini series,
or arc.
They're an arc to see like what happened there, you know?
Yeah, I'd love to explore that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I guess if it sells well.
All right. Well, there was our number 5. So if we want to take some more questions,
there's a lot of toilet paper talk in our comments. So.
Toilet paper.
Okay.
Yeah, because someone asked what toilet paper we use, and I was.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that people are just
cheapest that week.
That is like a little too personal, I think.
Oh no, that's the one thing. One ply. I'll say I use that, but I won't go any further.
Or Charmin, cha cha cha, Charmin.
I hate those commercials. I hate that Charmin
commercial.
I
like that commercial.
No, the bear, he sits there. There's the
hanging off his butt.
there's the underwear on the floor, right? The bear, he's like, "Oh, my underwear's on foot," but the bears don't wear underwear. Why do they show the underwear on the floor? It doesn't make any sense.
Mike has a problem with cartoon logic.
I do. It doesn't make any sense. I have a problem.
That's why you will never buy Charmin.
Nope.
So we have another question that's a bit more serious, but DNG, not that serious. DNGN says, what do you want most from this current era of comics? Oh, man. Honestly, like if I'm going to be completely honest, it's just like new talent. I feel like that's one thing that as of recently, we haven't really been seeing a lot of. Like a lot of new talent of artists we've been seeing, but writers, it's all like the same people. So especially with the big two, I just want to see new voices, diverse voices. I think they've been doing a really good job at the diversity within their comics, but not, I think they're doing a better job, obviously, hiring people too, but I think they could do an even better job as we go along.
I would agree with that. Yeah, that's a good answer. Kat gave the best answer.
Thank you.
I just want good stories.
That too. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I want. I want stories to make sense. you know, I love what independent comics are. You know what I'm saying? Those are, for me, like, as much as I love my superhero books, like some of these independent stories are so well done, you know, and it just, superhero is hard to write because we've seen so much history with it. And it's like, I just want good stories from, you know, from these comics. And I don't know what you can do to write better superhero books, you know. I don't know, but I do kind of want some more. Maybe you have, you know, solve kind of Cat's situation. It's like, make less books, but better quality. And then maybe you might sell more of them, you know?
Yeah.
Or, I don't know. I don't know. It's a hard thing to figure out, but just great stories, I guess, is the one thing for me.
It's a hard thing with, like, it's just the way sales work. It's like, not just in comics, but just in general. Like, if people like this, then let's give them a whole bunch more of this, you know, and like spread it out in every single possible way you can possibly give that to them.
Yeah.
And that's a problem with comics as well. And that, you know, I would rather it be focused down and get that high quality as opposed to that.
Right. Also, oversaturation. It's like, you have 8 Spider-Man books. Why do you need 8 Spider-Man books? Just focus on the one book that's really good, or there's 2 books, or whatever it is. Yeah. You have one really good X-Men book, but now we need 10 of them. You know, so it's, and again, they're trying to make money, but at the same time, you might sell more books with just one really good one.
Yeah.
We do have one more question I think we can answer, and one that I'm just gonna like kind of give a short answer to. But Tevye asks, do you think DC Comics can be saved? Anything can be saved. Like, if we don't like it, doesn't mean other people dislike it. And I think everything goes in waves, you know? And then the other question, and then we'll get to, obviously there's lots, so thank you. But we'll get one more question in, then we'll do another comic. But the other one was someone we actually talked pre-show. Did we watch the Super Bowl, and was it the best halftime show ever? I only watched the halftime show, and I told them before this, I was just like, I just cared that there was a lady coach, and I was voting. I was rooting for them, and they lost, and I didn't watch it. I played poker and lost $10 instead. So, but I did watch the halftime show.
I watched the whole Super Bowl, and it was a really close game. I mean, I was rooting for Kansas City, even though my New York Giants was not in it, but
they haven't been in it for a long time,
Super Bowl. I like to watch Super Bowl for the halftime and the commercials, but the game itself was like really intense, and it was like really.
I heard it was good.
It was a really close game, and I have to give props to both San Francisco and Kansas City for giving us one hell of a show of a Super Bowl.
I do have to give Chris a shout out because his favorite movie, Hustlers, was referenced in the halftime show. So just letting you know, yes, she did some pole dancing. So Chris needs to watch the halftime show.
I'm a football fan. I'm a huge Dolphins fan. I guess that's one thing I forgot to mention about, you know, what's the thing that you do? Yeah, what do you do when you don't read comics? I watch football. Like, I've been a huge Dolphin fan since like I was 9 years old. The last time the actual Dolphins went to a Super Bowl, so I've been waiting that whole time. And so I watch a lot. And so I watched the Super Bowl, and it was a great game. Kansas City won it in Kansas City fashion. You know, Patrick Mahomes he's a great quarterback. And the halftime show, I thought it was great, man. I mean, you know, there's been some controversy about this halftime show, but
yeah, you don't forget them. You know,
but my thing is like, give these women credit for what they are. I mean, J-Lo's almost 50 years old, right?
She is 50, I think.
Actually. Yeah, and Shakira. I mean, these girls did a phenomenal job. I mean, my hat's off to them, man, for doing what they do, because it's not easy to go out there and perform, you know, and I know that's their job and that's what they do, but think about it, you get the criticism, right? So they knew they were going to get scrutinized for what they did. So I thought it was fine, and it fit the culture kind of I don't know if it Latina all the way, but that's kind of I think that what they were going for, like the whole Miami vibe type of thing.
And and that too. They're in Miami. That. Come on, like I was very happy with what they did, and I think they did a great job at celebrating their music and their culture and what their music is literally based on. And yeah, I thought they did a great job. And obviously much better than Maroon 5 because like Mike was just saying, it's just like, oh, this is their job. But then you saw last year and what Maroon 5 did. So it's just like, okay.
I did not watch it. I saw a little bit of the halftime show, but not all of it. I'm not really a sports guy. I go in spurts. Like there'll be a time
we're gonna play basketball though. So
yeah, there were a few years like where I got really into basketball. There were a few years where I got really into baseball and football and so on and so forth. But I'm just not a sports guy, so I don't typically watch it.
Yeah, so we'll answer more questions after, but we're gonna get into some more comics.
All right. So we got a first time on here. Cool show, guys.
Thank you.
So he watches my After the Poll show.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool. Thank you. Yeah. We appreciate it every Tuesday. We're here.
And guys, I usually watch my channel. Thanks for watching that are on my channel watching this stream. So thank you. All right. So we're going to move on now to the next couple of books here. One is Suicide Squad issue 2. This was quite interesting issue as we get to see the new team kind of work together for the first time. And things kind of go south in this mission that you did not expect to happen. There was a president that they were supposed to protect. And we find out that one of the team members is kind of going against the team and winds up killing this president. And you're like, dang. And then in between that, you get to see some character interactions between the old team members and the new team members, which was kind of cool. So I think this series definitely has potential. I'm not sure what's going to happen next, but I was definitely excited for it.
See, I'm on such the opposite fence. I really liked issue 1. It was in my top 5. And then issue 2, I thought they kind of like threw in too many new characters and they threw in too much going on. Because I did like the opener where you're like, okay, the president died or someone died. And then you find out who it was. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't get into this issue as much. I still haven't heard the voices of these characters, but knowing Tom Taylor, we will. Obviously not dropping it, but I liked issue 1 a lot more than I liked this issue.
I think I liked issue 1 a little bit better, but I did like this issue, and I like the twist of the turn of that team and killing and then making Deadshot just kind of keep his mouth shut. I thought that was a really interesting way to go with it. Yeah.
I agree. I think the story so far lacks the characters. Like that's why you can't get into it that much because you don't know anything about the new characters.
Right.
So that's what gives it, it's like it's hard to get into. The only character that I really got into in this one was the shark, the King Shark, and Finn, right? Because they interact. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I ate your brother," and he was all tasty, and he's like, "Oh, I'll get back at you sometime." So right there in that moment, you could feel the tension between those two characters. So I like that, but besides that, you didn't really get anything else out of it, Right. So it kind of felt a little distant from it because there wasn't any other character interaction. But again, you got to have that trust in Tom Taylor, and it's just like he knows how to write characters. So in time, it will happen.
Yeah,
for sure. We got a couple of compliments. I definitely would love to read them. This is Randall Kemp, first time watching the show, I think. I'm liking the show. This is a fun, and I'm new to the show. Been watching Mike for around a year.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Thanks,
and then, I think this stream is further ahead than the Comic Frontline one. We'll definitely check that out. I think they're on the same. No, they look the same for me. So maybe it's just.
That would be weird.
Yeah, that'd be weird. And then Nola Nerd says, I watch Comic Uno every week and Comic Corner 2.0.
Nice.
We both appreciate that. Thank you. So did we want to do more questions or do we want to go to another comic first?
We'll do one more comic first.
Okay.
Next is Avengers The Wastelands issue 1. I know me and Brant read Dead Man Logan, so we're kind of attached to this universe. And so this continues that story. And this was 2 years later after Logan died, and we wind up getting to see an Avengers team form here. And so you wind up getting to see Dr. Doom, who is the big bad that's trying to take over these wastelands. And we get to see the random Ant-Man guy winds up, coming back. He was trying to help put together Forge's place that was destroyed, and Dr. Doom destroyed it. So he wound up meeting up with Danny Cage and Bruce Banner Jr. and whatnot. And they did this battle, and we got some history. And then at the end, it's like, who shows up but Captain America?
Yeah, that was okay.
Right? And he's the one he's dead.
Right.
So who is this Captain America?
I don't know. That was good. This was such a good issue, man. I thought it would be good, but I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah.
It was so good. And just the way that they came together, like the guy came from the Forges thing and was like pleading with them, and they were like resistant because Danny was like, we've built a life here. We try to get past all that and just live a normal life. And it's like Doom wouldn't let that happen. Doom brought the fight to their doorstep, and they had to step up. And that's how this ragtag group of Avengers gets formed. And man, Danny is so cool as Thor, by the way. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you gotta toss in the little Ultron scene too. It's like how far Ultron has fallen to become a mechanic,
dominant species. Yeah,
yeah, and he's just like, that was the other Ultron. I'm just.
But who do you think this new Captain America could be?
Yeah, I don't know, because if Steve Rogers is dead, and he looked a lot like just like a regular Captain America. No, he looked like Captain America.
They like Red Skull back in the original Old Man Logan, right? They had a bunch of super soldier serum, didn't they? They didn't have like a briefcase of it or something like that.
What if it's the chameleon?
No, I don't think so.
I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who's still around in that universe, and
That's hard.
I know, because so many people have died.
Yeah. I just think overall, I think it's going to be quite interesting because now you have the Avengers, which would be formed again because they were all dead going into this whole universe, and now they have reformed again.
Yeah, whole new kind of next Avengers. But I love this team though. It's just it's familiar, but it feels fresh. Bruce is like, he's Hulk, but he's not, and like Danny is Thor, but she's not. It's just it's a cool way to bring back these characters in this alternate reality, and I was totally sold on the story. Yeah,
it's like a next generation of characters, but it's like in this alternate universe, which makes it kind of cool. And it's like we've had so many of these old man stories and these wastelands and whatnot. It makes it for a lot of fun, and it's almost like that ultimate universe that we don't have anymore.
Wait, is there a character called Spider Bitch? Because that time you said there's Spider Bitch.
There was
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye's daughter.
Yeah.
Is she called Spider Bitch?
No.
I was like,
she has the powers of Spider-Man.
What is her name? Something Barton. I can't remember what her first name is.
I had to make sure. Yeah. I guess you never know with Marvel comics.
So that was that book, and I really enjoyed it. So it was cool. Definitely recommend it if no one has read it yet. So what do you got for comment?
Do you need to read the other books you feel to get into it though?
I don't think so.
Yeah, or do you think it's new reader friendly? And then we'll get to
it's new reader friendly. You can pick up what's going on. Will you be more familiar with the world if you read the other stuff? Yeah, absolutely. Did you ever read Old Man Logan, Kat?
Only the original?
Oh, the original years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really all you need to know, and like the Ant-Man character kind of brings you up to speed on what's been happening and when he approaches them for help, and so that you're caught up right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So interesting. It sounded like a cool book.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, we'll go to some comments. I tried scrolling up a bit because we did have a lot. Thank you guys, appreciate that. SM Down says if all comics except one was going, Thanos snapped forever, and you can only pick one to be saved. Which comic do you pick? I mean, Spider-Girl for me, unless you mean a current book. I guess it'd be more fun to say current. Current book. Runaways, probably.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic.
It would be Spider-Man for me.
Yeah. I think
Amazing Spider-Man.
It'd either be Spider-Man or G.I. Joe for me.
Because Spider-Man's been the constant for me since I was like 15 years old. So it's like I can't stop reading.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, G.I. Joe's ended and come back. So I think I would have to be
take away your G.I. Joe answer. That's true though. That it hasn't been around the whole time. Yeah. The other question I just have a fun story to say about this, but Tevia says question about DC's 5G. Last week we were supposed to do a topic video on it, and we all decided not to because how uninterested we were.
It's like
there's nothing to really discuss.
Yeah.
Until we get some more news on what's really going to come out with it. I guess that's all you can say.
We had the broadcast created. We had the thumbnail up. We were geared, and then right after the show, we were like, "Do we really have anything to say about this?" No.
Yeah, and we're like, "All right, good night." We've been really trying because it seems like you really want to hear about it, but every single time it's brought up, it's just what Mike said, just echoing what he just said.
There's just
this one actually. There's nothing, and even the Wonder Woman stuff. It's like, that was what we were trying to talk about with it, and there wasn't enough. This question actually got a lot of feedback. So, do you feel like the idea of shared continuity is being phased out from comics? Is it necessary for a strong company? Yes and no. I think there's some Marvel books that feel very indie. Like Immortal Hulk is not that tied into other stuff, but it still is because you get the Immortal Hulk Great Responsibility or whatever that's coming out. So. I think the big two will always, that's always their heartbeat. Valiant, that's a big part of their universe. But then you'll have the indies that don't have it. So I'll make it phased out.
I mean, it's hard. Like with Marvel and DC, obviously, their characters are so connected that it kind of has to be that way, right? We're always going to want to see Avengers and X-Men interact and different, Spider-Man interact with whoever, whatever. Same thing on DC, but I don't know. I think even in indie comics, like the more prominent ones, you could say they're in a shared universe in and of itself. Like if you think of something like Invincible, there were spin-off books and there was like this larger world. So it was just within mostly one book. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it's being phased out. I think they don't lean into the continuity as much because they try to make books stand out on their own, which I think is smart. So
I like continuity, but it's hard to always do, especially when you have like books that have multiple, a character has multiple books. But I think that's what, when Stan Lee created, Marvel, he wanted it to be this universe, so these characters, how they interact and things like that as time went along. And I think it makes it for a much more interesting, stories when you have these characters interact. Cause it's just like, oh shit, it's the Avengers with the X-Men. That's really awesome. They're interacting with each other and you do these great battles. And I think that's why these events, when they first introduced them were so grand and so epic because you didn't always see them, but you got to see all these characters work together, Now I think we're just kind of numb to it and it's not like this big deal anymore. But, I like it when it's that way because when books are on their own, it just doesn't seem like it's a universe anymore. It just seems like, hey, this is just like this guy's book and this is this guy's book and it just happens on its own. Like remember when the X-Men with X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue and X-Men Red, it never felt like they were all the X-Men were together. It was just like these three characters interacted with each other and you never see them with any other characters, So now at least you see the X-Men that most of them interact with each other now, you know. So
yeah, it's hard when you have so many characters and so many creators trying to do their own thing with them.
Yeah, it is.
That's an editor's job.
It is. And I was going to say that too. It's like they need stronger editing to just throw in these little mentions here and there, or just to keep this, like, this guy's wearing this week, you know, whatever, that kind of thing.
Mike's like,
yeah, no, that would keep it feeling more cohesive even when they're trying to do their own stories.
For sure. I'm not going to scroll up because I was going to do another question, but since Mike's not here yet, we'll do it for after. But okay. One's just, is there too many Marvel events? I mean, that's always a question, right?
Yeah.
No, I feel like it's not as bad as it used to be. I don't think so.
I think they've leaned into the mini events here recently.
Yeah, that you don't have to read everything, and it's like it doesn't, like, I feel like in previous Marvel books you really needed to read everything, like if you wanted to get the story. Now it's like you read the main event and you're pretty good. You don't have to read the main event if you're reading Amazing Spider-Man. Like, they'll maybe have a tie-in to it, but they've been better at it.
Yeah.
So Mike's not back here yet, but we'll answer another one then. This is just an idea for the anniversary. Idea for your anniversary show: do a top 10, but of your all-time comics that you have read in your life. And that's hard.
Yeah, I don't know that I could pull that together in a week. Like specific issues, no way. Maybe like generally speaking, like the best series or whatever.
Yeah, issues, that'd be tough. And I feel like I've done videos on it in the past. I feel like that might be boring. And Sweet X has said top 5 characters. I think we've done that for an anniversary, actually.
I think we have too.
Yeah, but yeah, keep up with the suggestions. Yeah. We love it. And we definitely would like to do something unique like that. So I think Mike's coming back on. So when Mike comes on, we'll do our next, I think, number 3 we're up to. No, number 4, actually.
Yeah, number 4.
All right. So, Mike, we're up to our number 4 now.
All right. So, our number 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was my number 4? Let's see. We got. Mine was actually X-Men issue 5. It's a quite interesting issue. I feel like now this one kind of ties back into issue 1. Am I right? Because they chased after that white and black person. I forgot the character's name.
Oh yeah, I don't know her name.
Name either.
Girl.
But it was the girl that we saw in that very first issue, right?
Yeah.
So I had totally forgotten about that, and I was lost when I started reading this.
Yeah. See, I told that's Hickman for you, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it was about. And she wound up going because she said, "Oh, I had to go," and she wound up going, and they chased her, and she went to this vault that was this Sentinel, and it goes to this, like, I don't know, this weird dimension like place, and it was weird, you know. But we finally get to see. It's so funny because we talked about it last week, like, where's Laura been? We haven't seen her. She hasn't been really relevant, and she winds up being in this issue. Now she goes to this vault, and we don't know where the frick she is, but nevertheless, it made for a quite interesting story. And then Cyclops is kind of regretting his decision, because if they're trapped in there, it's going to be like the time goes by like really super fast in there, or whatever the case may be. So they can be trapped in there for years.
Yeah.
So
yeah, nervous about that.
Several people said it was Serafina is her name.
Yeah, that's it.
So
yeah. Oh, and that's number. I was just gonna say that's Tevi's number 4. You go.
Oh, cool. No, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's because of that disconnect, because I totally forgotten about issue 1 that it was a little bit lower for me, because I was like, where in the world did this come from? And I just didn't make that connection for some reason, because it had gone off in different directions from that point. I thought it was interesting. The Laura stuff was my favorite part of the issue. I loved seeing her back, and her.
That's the character I teased for you guys last week.
You did, and I was very
like,
happy.
what are you talking about?
Yeah, I was happy to see that, and I love what they did with Sync. I remember him. Is that his name? Yeah, I think it's his name, Sync.
I kept forgetting their names. I was like, obviously not Laura, but I was like, Darwin I knew, but his name in particular, I'm like, what's his name?
He was from Generation X, and I remembered him from that book, and it was kind of cool seeing him back and knowing that he's got all these mental breakdown issues because he doesn't, he comes into a world where all his friends are gone, or the world has changed and he's not adapting well. I thought that was interesting, and I hope they get to explore that. But he's one of the ones that went in there too, so who knows. And then the reveal of how much time has possibly passed while they've been in there. It's like, man, what are they going to do to these characters then?
Sure, no shit, right?
Yeah. So it was interesting.
It shows that Cyclops he's never good. He's never good at his job. I know, right? I love that ending. It's just like, yeah, don't trust Cyclops. Yeah, I thought it was a really well-paced issue. I thought the character work was really good for this issue, and X-Men hasn't disappointed me, so.
But it finally got back to the very first story,
Yeah.
and so you're just like, oh yes, finally, you get somewhere. But now I think the next issue is going to be about Mystique, so it doesn't even touch like what's going on. And so I remember when I reviewed that very first issue of X-Men, I was like, yeah, remember that I think we all said it too. Remember the black and white character because she's gonna be back, and it was like 5 issues. So
it's like I swear sometimes I think Hickman has like a board with like all these different story plots, and he's like, okay, this week I'm gonna do this one. Next issue I'll do that one. Okay.
Or does he do this?
Yeah, maybe. Just like throw a dart. Oh, okay.
But that's it. At the same time, I feel like the book is less serialized too. Like it's kind of very old-fashioned in a way where like every issue feels like a new story. Like it's not.
He keeps it fresh that way.
Yeah. And I don't say that to
we're all making jokes here.
But it's working. And it's just this time it's just interesting his approach to storytelling sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, so I think there was a couple questions in there too.
We do have a couple here. Let's see. First one was a recommendation for our 6-year anniversary, and that is Tevia says top 10 comic book moments. I think that's even harder than single issues. I don't even know where to begin with that. Like it's hard enough for us to do it for the year.
You see this one here?
Oh man, we'd all be drunk.
Oh man, I'd have to start drinking.
And then, you would have to. You could get some water, Brent.
Yeah.
Sweet says, "How about doing a top 5 worst comic book characters?" I feel like we've been trying to stay away from the negativity, so we probably wouldn't do that. But yeah, we try to be a bit more positive. Then the other one, and then we'll get to the other number 4s. S Down says, do you remember what or how you guys discovered comics and why you became such comic fans? I kind of want to go to the latter because I feel like we've talked on this show how we became comic fans, but I guess what like made you become a big comic fan is a cool question. I would say Spider-Girl for me. Like that was like kind of the turning. I mean, I think everything builds up to make you become a big comic fan. But I remember I wanted to read comics weekly. Actually, that's a really good question. What made you want to become a Wednesday warrior? I would say it was Spider-Girl for me. So, and then like when Stephanie Brown and all that was coming out, I became a Wednesday warrior.
I think for me, it was a number of things all that happened around the same time. It's like when I first started going to comic shops, and I discovered there was a G.I. Joe comic. That was like my first, like, oh my God, there's a G.I. Joe comic. I mean, I knew superheroes, right? But at the same time, it was like X-Force and New Warriors, and Spider-Man was like on the Todd McFarlane run or something. It was around that time period that all that stuff was coming out at the same time. And I was a Marvel guy, so it was like all these things combined made me just have to continue all these books at that time. So.
I was never a Wednesday warrior when I was a kid. I was like whenever I could go warrior. But it wasn't until I was much older until, I got into until I got back into comics where it was like, man, I'm old enough now to where I'm like, I can buy my own comics. I can go whenever I want. And when I had my shop that I go to now opened up locally, I was like, man, this is great. And so I was just able to constantly go. And, and I just think like I always had this passion of sharing comics with people, like discussion and stuff like that. So obviously, with the internet, it was just like, oh, now I can read comics and I can talk to people online about it. And this was even before YouTube. And so I was like, I can talk to people about it. So I did anything I could to read a comic and then discuss it. And then I was like, oh, YouTube's coming around. And I'm like, I can make videos on YouTube. No one talks about comic books on YouTube. And I was like so wrong about that whole situation. I couldn't believe how many people talked about comics. And that's, how it kind of strung into this and how we kind of keep moving it along as well, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see Michael might be falling asleep. I want to.
It's good. What up, guys?
I never went when I was a kid. I never went on Wednesdays. It was usually Friday. I think.
Really?
I went.
Me too. Me too, because of school. I was just like, exactly. I'll pick it up Friday.
Yeah.
I don't think I did pick it up Wednesday. I was getting actually a Midtown box for a really long time. And then because my comic book store is maybe like 25 minutes away from me. It still is. I still drive 25 minutes away to get my comics. So when I was a kid and I didn't drive a car, I didn't really want to ask my mom or go on a bus and say, oh, a bus would even be worse. You got to take an hour to get there. So I was like, all right, I'll just, I would go from, I had an internship thing at the hospital. And after that, I would get my comics. And so that's like how I started that. But then when I drove, I took my own car to get my comics.
About 15 years ago, I was working at a job where my comic shop was literally right around the corner. So at lunch on Wednesdays, I would walk around to the comic shop and get my haul. That was nice. It was nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, the good old days, the nostalgic days. But Michael, you got into Wednesday Warrior, which means, getting your comics Wednesday. I know you don't get your comics Wednesdays these days.
Like we used to have a comic store that was 10 minutes from our house that we would go to every Wednesday, and but now it's not there anymore. So we had to look into other resources like Midtown Comics we went into, and then DCBS somewhere down the line. So it's it really sucked that we didn't have a comic store near us anymore, but it really was something, though.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to more questions, but I think we have to skip our big book because we already talked about it.
No, yeah. So what are we on, number 3 then?
Yeah.
All right. No, we're still on number 4.
No, we're 3.
I didn't do my number 4.
Oh, we are on number 4 still, actually. Yeah. I didn't do my number 4 either.
I thought you guys did it, and you said, Mike, we're on number 4, and I thought you guys had already did it.
No.
Okay, Brant, fine. Number 4.
My number 4 is Hawkeye Freefall. I thought this was such a good issue. I thought this was better than the first issue, and just there was these moments like you showed in your panels this week, Kat, with Luke Cage and Danny, and he's got to go. I mean, not Danny, Hawkeye, and he's got to go pick up his arrows because they're expensive and all this stuff, and he's like accepting some kind of, or he's like donating money, and it's like, where did Hawkeye get all this money? And it was just a fun issue, and it was off the wall. And then we have the reveal of who Ronan is. And it's like, what the heck?
Yeah, it is Clint.
It is Clint, but it's.
But it
not
also
Clint.
He has his hearing aid as well, so that's interesting.
Yeah, but the Clint that takes off his mask, he doesn't have the black eye, and the other Clint does. So who is this Clint?
Oh God!
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'll answer this because I do live in New York and I know the scene here. But for Sweet, you said only big comic book store in New York is Midtown, and even they may go out of business. They're definitely not. They got enough money. Also, JHU is a big store. They own 2 stores. They got one in the city. They did downsize, but that is New York rent. But they're still around. And Staten Island, Comic Book Jones did close, but we actually got all their customers. And also the manager of Comic Book Jones now works for JHU. So we're still going strong, New York. And there's still comic book stores there. And Forbidden Planet's there, too. And that's doing really well. So don't worry. We still got them.
I've gotten 15 emails from Midtown Comics in the past 3 days.
Really? I get emails from them all the time, and I haven't bought anything from them.
It's all the same email. It's like 75% blowout, 20% off figures. And it was like, man, I've gotten those emails like 3 or 4 times each.
Oh, I get it all the time. I don't even know how to unsubscribe. That reminds me, I should go down and maybe I'll support it. Maybe I'll keep it, but my mailbox is enough. But yeah, going back to Hawkeye. I really liked this issue. I enjoyed Clint a lot. The ending was really cool. I thought it definitely got me back on track for it.
Yeah, for sure. I love the tone of it.
Yeah, it's fun. And also I like it's a mini series. I don't think I would go and read this more if it wasn't, but I like that it's a mini.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Kat, what was yours?
That was mine also. So.
Oh, it was yours also.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we had another interesting question. It was how did we all come together? By SM Down, he says, how did you guys meet each other, and when did you decide to make a joint channel? You have probably answered this before, but I didn't see it. So I guess I'll kick this one off. So the way it worked was me and Chris actually met each other through YouTube. Okay. And Kat and I met each other on Comic Vine.
Good old days.
And I've known Kat the longest out of anybody here just because of Comic Vine. Yeah. And I used to watch her videos actually through Comic Vine, not through YouTube, when she was Comic Duo and all that other stuff. And this is going back.
I was in high school. Yeah.
She was in high school.
I'm 25 now. So.
Yeah. So that was a long time ago. And then at the same time, then I started a channel with Chris, and it was called Comic CCC, something like that. And this was well before live videos and stuff like that. But we did this joint channel, and then it just went south. And then Chris and I were just like, hey, why don't we just do a channel together with Michael? And we're like, okay, let's do it. And then we were like looking for people to recruit. And I was like, hey, why don't we I know Kat. I'm like, she's really good at doing reviews and stuff like that. And then we got Kat. We've had a couple of other people here and there that's kind of come and gone along the years, which, it's going to be expected. And then, then Chris came across Brant because he listened to Sound Zone 4. And it's, that's just kind of how it went, and, we just became really good friends over the years. And, it's been awesome. A lot of us, unfortunately, haven't been able to meet like each other physically. Kat and I met at MegaCon in Florida, and we got to hang out for a couple hours, which was really cool. But yeah, but we're like a family, man, so it's a lot of fun. And that's what we look forward to every Tuesday.
We really do. And we were just saying this, like, literally this week. We were just like, yeah, our week was whatever, it's just whatever. And it's like, you know what? I was looking forward to the show today because, we're going to have a blast. Like, no matter what happens in your week, it's like, this is the time we could just have a good time and lay back. And we always say this too, is that we don't just talk comics with each other. We're very much a part of our lives. So, we have a genuine friendship, and it's always appreciated. And hopefully you guys appreciate it too, but it's more appreciated for us. So,
and like Mike said earlier, we're like constantly talking to each other all through the day, all week. So it's just,
whether it's about what's going on in the show, what's going on in our lives, like whatever it is, it's like, even though we can't be together, we find a way to still, be together in that way. Thank God for technology, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. This is our own little comic book store for you guys too. So
that's right. So with that being said, let's go on to number 3.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3. So I'm going to start with Michael because looks like he's a little dozing off there. So get Michael.
I'm not dozing off.
I don't know. The people in the comments say otherwise also.
Maybe he's just looking down.
Maybe he's looking.
Yeah, I'm just.
You're just looking down. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just looking down.
But I see you like also moving a bit.
Nah, I'm good. So number 3, I have Red Sonja and Vampirella meet Betty and Veronica, issue number 8. So this is where Betty and Veronica interview Jack for the school newspaper about the murder of what's been going on. And what's weird about his character was that he had to use some type of blood to keep him healthy and alive, like a vampire blood, sort of, like, if I'm trying to remember correctly, from this girl called Dracula. Dracolini. I don't know how you say her name.
There's a lot of names going on in that book.
Yeah. And things get a little bit too out of control, and it's the part where Sonya and whatchamacallit, Vampirella, they met them at the same time, at the different place, and then they take Betty and Veronica away kidnapped, so now it's up to Red Sonja and Vampirella to save them. Cool. So a good issue and interesting.
Nice.
It's cool that
I'm enjoying that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like bigger than a mini. I think you said it was like issue 7 8 or something.
Oh, is it really? Wow.
Yeah, it's still in the solicit, so it's cool that it's still going, because that's definitely a series that would have been just a mini series.
Yeah, I thought it was just a mini series. That's cool.
No.
All right, Kat, what was your number 3?
Mine was Captain Marvel: The End. So I already talked about it.
Sweet. And Brant?
Mine is Star Wars issue number 2.
Ooh, Star Wars.
I love this issue. I think some of the emotional stuff from issue 1 was a little stronger, but I liked some of the humor here. Lando taking Chewie to go to Jabba the Hutt and plead with him and all that stuff, and their whole subterfuge, trying to pit the Empire and these other people against each other and all that stuff, and trying to kind of weasel his way out of it all. I thought it was like classic Lando throughout this issue. Yeah, it was so good. I enjoyed it for that aspect of it.
Yeah, I liked it too. The cliffhanger was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, who catches that lightsaber?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was wondering. Because it's obviously it didn't go all the way down. Then who has it? Who's the guy to retrieve it from? Yeah.
And then you notice that the person that caught it had a hood and had a black glove like Luke would wear when he was in the Return of the Jedi.
Right. Yeah.
So I was kind of like, what is this guy? And you don't see any face, nothing. And so that made it really interesting. And I agree with you. Like, Lando was spot on in the book and whatnot. I thought that was cool. And overall, it was a great book as well. I mean, it missed my top 5 this time. I kind of like the first one a little bit better. Yeah. But again, it's still a really good book. And again, I find myself wanting to know, it's like I want to know what's going on with Luke. I think that's what I really want to know about,
Yeah.
So
and I like that he's training with the new hand and stuff in this issue too, just those little moments. And
yeah,
I'm glad to be excited about a Star Wars comic again. Because like we were when they first brought it back to Marvel. And it was so good at first, and then that's kind of the way I feel now. And we've talked about it before. I love this time period that they're exploring.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then don't forget, we got Darth Vader coming out tomorrow.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
All right. And so my number 3 book was Suicide Squad issue 2. So we definitely talked about that one too. All right.
I think I saw a comment here. What was our favorite New 52 book? Oh, here it is. Favorite DC family or favorite New 52 comic before Rebirth? Before Rebirth. Mine was Batgirl. The Gail Simone run. Batgirl was my favorite.
Yeah, that was good. I can't remember, honestly.
Right? We review a lot of comics.
I think a favorite series was either Green Lantern.
That was good.
Or I really enjoyed Red Lanterns. That was a really good series. I enjoyed that one.
Was the really good Jeff Johns Aquaman run in the New 52?
Yes.
Yeah, that was really good for me too.
We have 2 more, and then we'll go into our next set. But next is I guess we have 3, but we'll answer 2, and then we'll answer the next one after. A good topic, maybe favorite movies, actors, TV shows. We're going to figure it out. I think it would be really cool to do a list of some sort. We're going to try to keep it at comics, I think. But
yeah, plus Chris isn't really a TV movie watcher. And, he'll be on. So
Yeah, and then the other one, and then keep coming with the questions if you guys like. DNGN says, do you think the recent obsession with mature / R-rated stories comes from a legitimate desire for change from the MCU formula, more of an insecurity that stems from the comics or kids stigma?
I think. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think it's a little bit of both, but I think it's more towards the latter.
I also think it's cyclical. Like if you look back to the mid '80s, it was the same thing. Everything got a little more edgy, more mature. Same thing happened in the '90s. I think it's just it comes around so often.
I think it's also to get a little bit more attention.
That too. Yeah.
You say rated R, movie like that. Oh no, people are going to see it. So all right. So we're gonna go on next book.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, I lost my page here. So hold on one second. All right. So, next, the Go-Go Power Rangers.
I will be very, very brief because Chris is not even here and he was the only one who marked it down. It was a different story. It was Rita's past and like her dealing with trauma, being in this dumpster, and living the lives of the people she killed. That was very interesting. It was very sci-fi though, so it wasn't like exactly for me, but I thought it was a really cool concept. That's it.
Cool.
Awesome. That's nice and short and sweet for me. So moving on to number 2. My number 2 book this week was a book we already talked about, and that was Avengers of the Wastelands.
Mine too.
Ooh, yes. And Kat, what's your number 2?
Mine was X-Men, and I got the Emma Frost cover.
Well, of course, that's a nice cover.
Yeah, it was nice. And then I got X-Force. I showed these guys it, but just for the Dazzler cover.
The Dazzler cover was nice when you showed it.
I didn't read it.
Yeah,
wasn't it cool? It's good art.
And then Michael, what's your number 2?
A book we already talked about, Amazing Spider-Man, Daily Bugle, issue number 1.
All right, glad you liked it though, Mike. That's people have different tastes, so that's awesome. All right. Yep. And so the next book we're going to talk about is Dial H for Hero, issue 11. I didn't read it, but I know Kat and Brant read it. So what did you guys think of this issue?
It's a phenomenal book, man. I love this book.
This is multiple Supermans, right?
Yeah, you have that going on, but honestly, I thought the heart of this book. So it usually starts out, which I know you read the first issue, right, Mike? You read like the first couple.
I read the first few issues.
Yeah. So in the book, you get to see Dear Superman. Like that's kind of the heart of the book is like what he wants to say to his hero. Yeah. And this issue is Summer saying Dear Dad, and it's about like her past and why really she doesn't get tempted by the H-Dial like Miguel does. But it's never Miguel being painted as a villain. It's never like, you suck because you picked the wrong side. It's like there is no villain here. It's just like, well, I understand why you picked this side, but I don't think it's right, So it was really interesting. And obviously all the different art styles where you get the 2 Supermen and the cliffhangers that, oh man, it's something about the multiverses. What exactly did he say?
He dials 52 on all. He gets all 4 dials, so he can dial the multiversal dial, and it's like they show that whole universe map as a dial again.
I mean, rebooting the multiverse.
Rebooting the multiverse. So it was interesting. The stuff with her dad was the heart of it, like you said. The Miguel stuff, it was fun. They did this like flatter coloring style to kind of make it look aged and classic and stuff. So that was a nice little touch. And Miguel kind of coming to terms with, this is not what I exactly wanted when he gets split was cool too. But this just was like just outside my top 5 this time. But it was still good. I love this book.
I got one more issue to go, right?
Yeah, one more.
All right, Michael, what's your number 2? Oh yeah, you said Daily Bugle.
Yeah,
right?
I did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So did everyone go?
Yeah.
Yep.
Good. Got it. All right. So next book is going to be Thor issue 2. I like this book. I really do. I love it. It may not be like your traditional Thor book, but again, that's what I like about Donny Cates. He knows how to change things up, spice it up a bit, make it not so traditional, but yet it is familiar in the same way. You know, I mean, we had Jason Aaron on Thor for so long, and a lot of people loved it, but at the same time, it's good to see something a little bit different here. And I liked how Thor is, you know, he's still king, he's still Thor, he's in the action, and he's the herald of Galactus, but he ain't taking any shit from Galactus.
That's what I love about it.
Yep, he's not going to let life die. If Galactus wants to feed on the planet, there's not going to be anybody on there, you know. So I thought that was quite interesting. They got to stop this whole Black Winter from happening, and in order to do that, he has to consume these 5 planets in order to do that. And it made for a great story. And then the cliffhanger, right? You're just like, what the heck, dude? You got Beta Ray Bill who makes his appearance there, and you're just like, yeah, that's pretty sweet stuff like there. So yeah. I liked it, and I think it's a good read, man.
I love Thor's reaction to Beta Ray Bill showing up. He's like, "Oh no, not Beta Ray Bill." Yeah, it was good. It was a really good issue, and I love that Thor's not taking any crap from Galactus. I mean, he like broke his fingers off with Mjolnir, and he's just like, I don't care. He calls down the Bifrost to take off the people from the planet to save them, and it's good. You've never seen a herald quite stand up to Galactus like that. You've seen Silver Surfer stand up to him, but not in the same way.
No,
because I mean, you're dealing with a king and a god here with Thor, and it's just like, nah, I don't play that way, Galactus. So it was a really powerful issue for me, and I can't wait to see him face off with Beta Ray Bill and see how that all goes down.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's wonderfully written, I feel like, and I can't wait to see what happens next. I mean, just good stuff there, in my opinion. So I'm trying to think. I lost my train of thought on one thing that I tried to remember what happened, but I can't think of it. Maybe I'll pop in my head. I hate when that happens. So all right, so that was Thor, and then
Thor, that was the big books, yeah.
Yeah, and then the next one is Quantum and Woody issue 1 from Valiant Comics. So what did you guys think of that?
I think only Brant read it. Unless Michael, you didn't read it, right?
No, I didn't read it.
I don't think I like Quantum and Woody. I mean, it's not a bad book, right? It's got its own tone. It's got very Deadpool type humor in it, though. For me, I think this is the 3rd time I've tried a Quantum and Woody book, and every time it burns me. It's just not my thing. So I think I don't want to be too critical of it, because it seems like something that could be a lot of fun. In this issue, I think it's Woody. Woody gets a new power, and he's able to see the future, but it's broken, and so he's got some kind of premonition. But Woody is classically, you get the impression from this, Woody is classically a scam artist. So his brother doesn't believe him. Quantum is his brother, and he thinks he's like
brothers.
Yeah, they're. I don't know if they're adopted brothers or half brothers or what it is, but they were definitely raised as brothers either way. But yeah, so he doesn't believe him, and he thinks he's like trying to organize this to bring them back into the good graces, because apparently last time around they're like public enemy number 1, and they're trying to be superheroes again and that kind of thing. So they end up in the White House, or not the White House, the Capitol building, and there's like this kind of like the nuclear family in DC. It's like this family, this parents and their 2 kids, they're attacking and trying to kill all these senators for some reason that's not entirely clear, and Woody is like trying to stop them, and Quantum thinks that Woody's put them up to this so they can become heroes, and it's just kind of goofy and kind of all over the place, and a lot of sarcastic humor and that kind of thing. And I don't know, it didn't grab me, so I probably won't continue it. But
well, there you go.
Yeah.
Going back to Thor, it popped in my brain. The whole thing with Thor's hammer, it keeps getting heavier every time.
He lifts
it.
Yeah.
So
that's very interesting. I wonder if that has to do with the power cosmic, or if it has to do with like the weight of being a king is like, I don't know.
I think it's the weight of the king, because it was giving him problems before he got the power cosmic.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know, man, but that's quite interesting. We'll see where that goes. But unfortunately, sorry you didn't like Quantum and Woody, but hey, you win some, you lose some there, right? You get a chance to try out another book, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what
I wanted to like it because I love Valiant. It's
sure.
Just, not every book can be for everybody, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's interesting about the company too is that they have such a diverse palette. So
yeah.
All right, so now it's time to talk about that number one book of the week, and my number one is Thor. So
nice.
Yep. Michael, what was your number one this week?
Talked about it, Conan the Barbarian, issue number 12.
Nice.
Kat, what's yours?
Mine's Daily. Sure, you talked about it.
Fowler.
Mine. We also already talked about Captain Marvel: The End.
There we go. See, Captain Marvel: The End. The End book made the top 5 this week.
Yeah, for all three of us.
Yep, from all three of us, which was good. I got the Deadpool one, but I never read it. So
it wouldn't have met the same expectations.
All right. So before we move on to the chopping block, do we have any other questions or just overall comments?
We have a couple. So we had Coach P, I'll say. Anybody like Ant-Man? Yeah, I like Scott. I don't really like Hank that much, but I do like Scott.
You get the new Ant-Man book coming out.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, Kat's a big Cassie fan, so
yeah.
I love my Cassie. I will protect her forever. So she doesn't need any though, so don't worry. Tevia also says, "Do you think MCU needs R-rated movies or TV shows?" I don't think it needs it. If
they don't
there's
need it, yeah. I think if they make it, I mean, think about it. Like if it's not broke, don't fix it.
No.
Their movies make billions of dollars. I mean, it's fine the way it is, So, I mean, obviously they're going to make Deadpool, so that's going to be rated R. Mm-hmm. So there you go. You're going to have your rated R movie from Disney. So
if the story they're telling fits an R rating, then if it's an R rating. If it doesn't, then why you don't need it. So.
I mean, if the comics don't, then
right.
Exactly.
So
right. It makes sense. Wouldn't. The other one, Sweet X says, did any of you guys check out the DC project where they let regular people pitch reality shows? I think you guys would have made better shows. That's what they should have picked up.
They were doing that. Yeah, I forgot
they announced it. They announced the winners, but also like what's hard about that is like if you work under DC, you can't, you're not going to be able to criticize them. So it's it's a very different show.
That's true.
So all right, pick us up.
So let's talk about the chopping block. So this is usually Chris's segment, but since he's not here, I'll just continue the comic talk here. And these are the books that we're thinking about maybe dropping all together. So obviously, it's the Amazing Spider-Man Daily Bugle issue 1, and it looks like every one of us are dropping this book except for Michael.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to let us know how it goes, all right, Michael?
Yeah, Michael. We'll follow it by you.
And if it gets better, maybe we'll come back to it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Michael won't. Mike won't, but I might.
No, I won't. And obviously, I think we already know from Brant that Quantum and Woody is no longer on your list as well.
That is correct. That is correct.
And then who put Scream down here?
I think it was Chris.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that. Scream is okay. It's just one of those books that it's I don't know if it's really, do you really need to read it? So it's kind of
push that character too. It's just like,
yeah.
They tried Andy. They've been trying to push that character for such a long time.
Yeah. They kind of go into more of the Null mythos a little bit in this last issue. It wasn't my favorite issue, and I'm kind of on the fence on it as well. Like I like it. I like the gritty artwork of it and whatnot, but I don't know if I want to invest in this story that much. It's just, I don't know. It
might be on your next chopping block.
Good. I'll see where issue 4 goes with that one. So, all right. So now I'm going to pass it over to Brant. We're going to talk about key issues. most anticipated books that are coming out next week.
Yeah, so we got a lot of books to talk about this time. I'm going to start with Michael with where is it? Conan Battle for the Serpent Crown, since the Conan book made your number one pick this week. So.
Yeah, I'm really actually looking forward to seeing how that story is going to go. Like some Conan books that I've read, there have been some ups and downs in some of the stories, but I'm really interested and intrigued to see how this story is going to be. So I thought I might as well give it a try and see.
Awesome. And I'm going to just there's a couple that only me and Chris marked, and since he's not here, I'm just going to kind of lump those in real quick. Birthright number 41 coming back for the last leg of this series. Really excited about that. And then Kristen and I are both enjoying Mighty Morphin Power Rangers / TMNT. Are you reading it, Kat? Yeah. Are you still reading it? But
I am definitely enjoying it.
Okay.
I just didn't have much to say from the last issue, but definitely a solid book.
Cool. I'm just going back to Birthright real quick. I want to see how they close out that series. So I'm sad to see it go. Yeah.
I haven't been reading it consistently, but I'm still curious to see what. I feel like it's one of those books that you could skip a lot of issues and still understand what's going on.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the last issue will be. I'll probably try to at least skim the last issue to see what's up.
Yeah, sometimes I'll go several issues and then just kind of binge, catch up, and then read. But yeah, I think I'm current now though. So let's see, a book that most of us want to talk about, Marauders number 7. After that ending, Kitty, is she alive?
Watch it don't even touch on that in this next issue.
Yes, I could say imagine.
Yeah,
that's all I could say.
She already read it.
Of course you did. Mike, you're looking forward to Miss Fury number 1 from Dynamite. That's an interesting pick there.
Yeah, it's just she looks like another Catwoman, Black Cat character, anti-hero. And I just want to see what Dynamite does different with this one. You know what I'm saying? It's she's on a piece of rope and she's swinging and she has this gun in her hand. What is she about? I guess supposedly she is a classic character. She's been around before, but I don't know anything of her. So I want to see what they do with this character. And if it's an interesting book, I want to give it a try.
You know what's so interesting about that book? That's been trying to get released for 2 years.
I know.
Right?
That book has been,
Is it being released this week? I don't even know. It's is it finally being released?
It was on my pull list months ago when it was supposed to come out.
Yeah. I remember you talking about it then. Yeah.
I hope you finally get this issue because I'm interested in it too if it's actually coming out. But it's been since not last January, but the January before that, that week where it's the holidays. I remember it was supposed to come out and it never did, and it's still on the docket, but it's just not coming out.
I wonder what the holdup was.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. I hope it's I go to my comic book store and it's there. That's my worry. It's is it really coming out? I don't know.
It's a phantom book.
Yeah.
Worst thing is it's going to come out and then it's going to be on Mike's chopping block next week. This book sucks.
I've been waiting 3 years for this freaking book and it sucks.
Oh man. So Cat, Crowded number 11 comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm so upset that we're leading to the end because they're going to be, I think, releasing the last arc in trade. But I love this book. I love their dynamic a lot. I think it has a really interesting commentary about how we interact with social media. So see where it goes.
That's been the interesting thing about the whole thing, and it's gone in a completely. It's the interesting thing about it is it starts off really strong with the social media aspect of it, and then as it goes on, it delves far more into the characters,
which is definitely the right way to go.
Yeah, exactly. I agree, and that becomes a backdrop to it, and I think it's an interesting way to tell that story. But
it's a cool book. Everyone should have read it, but they didn't, so that's why we're not getting more of it.
Savage Avengers number 0. Michael.
I do want to say, Michael, interestingly enough, this issue is going to be a Magic and Doctor Strange issue. I might skim it just for that, but I know they have a story in it.
Yeah, so the Savage Avengers, I just want to just take a look just to see where the story is going to
issue 0.
issue 0, where the story is going to lead into. And from what I saw from the solicits, I think I want to go check it out and see what it's going to be.
Let me see what again. All I know is that Ileana's in it, so like I might pick it up, but she always disappoints me. Yeah, it's about the looming threat of Cullen Gath reunites Doctor Strange and magic on Krakoa. The fate of the world will rest in what they discover, and also there's a reprint. Yeah, no, it's a representing of a pair of classics, actually, not a reprint. With Chris Claremont and our favorite artist, John Romita Jr., in the context of a great new sequence illustrated by the impeccable Greg Smallwood. This is a weird connection. Like, what is going on? Like, how's the Savage Avengers? Like, what's going on there?
Colin Gat's a Conan villain, so that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe that's how they relate it.
Yeah.
We'll see. Cool. I'm excited to hear your thoughts, Michael, when you read it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Travel. So hopefully we get Mike back. But until then, let's see. What is that? Savage Avengers is a fun book. It's actually I'm pulling out. Cool. Let's see. What's one that Mike didn't want to talk about? There's not any more left. So we'll just have to go on without him. Justice League number 40. I'm really curious to see what happens. Even though I was disappointed by the end of 39, I'm really curious to see what Venditti does and where the story picks up from there. So, let's talk about Ant-Man.
Oh man,
Give Kat something to talk about.
I can't talk about it.
You can't talk about it.
No,
you've read it already too. Okay.
I'm just like, yeah, you can see my face. So, stuff happens. And
oh man, we're talking about Ant-Man.
What?
Yeah, we'll just talk about it next week. And I love my girl Cassie, and
Cat's going with her emotions right now, Ant-Man.
That's all I'll say. I'll say, like, when things were presented to me, it ruined my week a little bit.
Oh no.
I'll say I will also say I haven't read it fully, so I can't. I just skimmed through it, so I didn't read it yet. I'm gonna read it tomorrow. But from what I saw, actually, I don't even know if I should be even saying any of this, so I'm not going to go any further. But it's 12:30.
You're scaring me though. Should I read the book?
I think give it a try yourself.
Yes, you need to read the book. She's so hardcore that it could definitely persuade your you know what I'm saying.
That is very true.
The Ant-Man part might be really really good. So
yeah,
I only skimmed it, so it doesn't mean I disliked it or not. I might read the dialogue and be like, oh, never mind. But just from what I saw,
gotcha. While you were gone, Mike, we talked about Justice League 40.
Oh, yeah. But it already looks like they're in some other crisis already. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just like, oh, there's no time to relax. It's just like battle after battle. But this is it. This is the time to jump on Justice League. If you haven't read it, this is the perfect jumping on point. And Robert Venditti is, if I don't know if that's how you say his name, or Venditti or whatever it is. He obviously Exo Man of War. He did Green Lantern. I do love his writing, and I think he can do a great thing here with Justice League, and hopefully it keeps me on the book for a long time, because again, I want to like more DC books. They're just not enough out there right now that I'm reading.
We'll see.
All right, so an interesting book, Immortal Hulk, Great Power, #1.
Written by Tom Taylor.
Yeah.
I'm interested in this for sure. Although I also did not like his Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, so who the hell knows?
Again, Friendly Neighborhood I don't think is his fault. I think it's just, he's given a job, and it's just like, well, you can only write this Spider-Man, but it can only be within his neighborhood. Well, how much can you actually do?
True. I agree with that. Not much. And that's why it's not a series anymore. But yeah, this is such an interesting combination of characters. So I really love Immortal Hulk, and I love Spider-Man. So I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, I might actually have to check this out.
Yeah, I'm on board with this one. And this cover plays tribute to that original Web of Spider-Man where it was Spider-Hulk. And I think this could be a lot of fun. This
and there might be a newspaper article about his webs, so that's really
so Michael might even be interested.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we're down to the last two. Star Wars Darth Vader, which we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. Just looking forward to that side of the story.
Yeah, that will definitely go hand in hand with the Star Wars book, and obviously seeing Darth Vader in his pursuit of his son. So I think that could be cool.
Yeah, exactly. And then X-Men Fantastic Four, #1.
I mean, Kitty's in it, so she's not dead.
Wait, she's dead.
Right? Question mark?
She's at the bottom of the ocean, though, Kat.
I know. What's going to happen? I'm curious, like, also from the preview art I saw, it's like, are they going to Krakoa? Is she on Krakoa? That makes no sense to me. So excited to talk about that if she's on Krakoa.
She can get to Krakoa. She just can't go through the gates.
Yeah, she can't go through the portal.
She can go through the outside of it, but she can't go in it. She can only go on like that island piece.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, she can only go on like the beach. Yeah. So it's just like, how far can you go? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. I haven't read it. I just from the preview pages that are out. My girl Kitty, man.
I just want to see I want to see Kitty on the beach, like taking a step. Can I go this far?
Yeah. Trying. Oh my god.
And that's it. That's all our key issues for our most anticipated for tomorrow. So
we're done. So I mean, hey guys, viewers, thanks for
it's awesome
for all the great comments and conversation today. I thought it was really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next week we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We have
we'll do for next week.
First time watching. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. That's really cool. We got lots of great comments, lots of viewers this time. So that's what we like to see. Keep them coming and come back next week. Anniversary, 6-year anniversary. We'll figure out something cool to do. We love all the suggestions we got from you guys. Does anybody have anything to plug? I do, but
I don't think so.
I'll wait till you go first, Brian.
Okay. We have a Kickstarter going on right now for The Secrets of Willow-Mist. It's my fiance Lisa Moore is the writer of the book. We are 70% funded right now with 2 weeks to go. It is a fantasy mystery comic, all ages, but I say that to say not just kid book. It's literally all ages. You can read it any age that you are. It's just a fun book where this girl thinks she's the last fairy, and then she meets another one, and all these mysteries come in. We introduce a dragon in this issue, a teleporting dragon at that, so that's kind of cool. So go check it out at lasttemperpress.com/Willow-Mist, and I'll try to remember I'll put that in the links. So, go ahead, Michael.
All right, so for my Do Rock 18 channel, I do have a cool unboxing video that I'm going to try to record, and if I could get it up by tomorrow or Thursday the latest. So definitely check that out on my Do Rock 18 channel, as well as hitting that subscribe button, because I got some bunch of video ideas and I don't think you're going to want to miss out on any of them, because it's going to be pretty awesome that you're not going to want to miss out on. Sweet. And that's all I have to say for that.
Awesome. And I just wanted to add one more thing, since we're talking about anniversaries. This week is actually the 5-year anniversary of Last Temper Press. So
nice.
Already?
Yeah, it's crazy, right? So we're gonna be talking that up throughout the week in various places. So stay tuned to social media.
Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations indeed.
All right, so I guess that's it. So let me go over to this page so I can pull this up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you get all the updates on all the content we put up on Comic Frontline. Give us a like if you like this video, and check us out on social media over there. And thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. So,
okay, rock on. Bye.
Good night, guys.